Hi lovers, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Mide Nancy. If this is your first time seeing my face, welcome to the channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, returning viewer, welcome either ways. I'm super excited to be doing this again. And today's video, without further ado, is going to be about the teaching assistant program in France, popularly known as TAPIF or assistantdelangueenfrance. This video was actually inspired by one of my subscribers who sent me a message asking me several questions that he felt that I had not addressed on my channel. So yeah, I'm just going to be making a video around that, and also going to be like talking about the pros and the cons of the assistant program, and should you be considering doing this program in future. And I'll also be talking about how I was able to deal with some of the problems and challenges, and just giving you tips from my 2 years experience. So let's jump right into the video. I'm going to try my possible best to make this video as orderly or as organized as possible, because I really want it to make sense. But I'm going to start this video by reading out the post, like the question that this subscriber asked me, and then I can chip in the pros and the cons from that. So I'm just gonna read from my device here. So the person sent me a message on Instagram and said, "Hey, my name, I've been watching your videos on your YouTube channel, and I must say thank you for your videos, but I do have a few questions. You went as an assistant here, and at some point you came back to Nigeria because you were done with your contract, right? Your recent post shows that you are back in France. Now my question is, was your contract renewed, and like how, and did you go back as a teacher or a language assistant? And then I've seen in your video that you didn't really state the benefits of the language assistant, the salary, and how different it is from a teaching job." Also, I had more questions because I don't want this video to be super lengthy. I had questions like, is it the same as graduate assistant? Because there are many people who travel like abroad to the United Kingdom or United States, and they like maybe for studies, and they get the opportunities to be like graduate assistants while they're like having their studies, like while they're being students. I don't know if that makes sense. So this, I had questions revolving around that, and how is a language assistant different from a normal regular teacher that you can have, that So yeah, I don't know how I should start this video, or where I should start from. Okay, to answer some of his first questions. So basically, yes, in 2020 I left Nigeria to come to France and become an English assistant, and in April 2021 my contract ended, but my visa was till the end of May. But anyways, I left beginning of May. I went back to Nigeria because that's how it should be. But before I went back to Nigeria, if you are a current assistant, they give opportunities, and they just give opportunities for you to apply for a renewal of contracts. Not everyone who renews their contracts get a renewal. So let's say, okay, for example, we Nigerian assistants, my set 2020 set was the first Nigerian assistants that France was going to be having ever. They have from different countries. There's UK, there's Canada, there is like more than 57 other countries that assistants come from. And all these countries, there's a number of slots for every country, number of assistants they want to get from some countries. From some countries, it's like 100, from some 20. So in Nigeria, I think we're not like more than 15. So my set, the first time, maybe we were 17 or 18, I don't remember. So I imagine that out of 18 of us, only, I don't think we were up to 18, I think we were like 15. So let's say out of 15 of us, only 12 applied for a renewal. So out of the 12, they accepted like 7, and others it wasn't accepted. So I don't know if you get the point. You either get one of the three options. You either get accepted, or you are on a complimentary list, like a waiting list, and if someone drops out of the program, they slot those on the waiting list. Either that, or you get rejected eventually. Whether you're on the waiting list or you've been accepted, you have to go back to Nigeria before the end of your visa, so you can apply for a new visa and come back afresh, because that's the policy of the program. So maybe that's one of the number one cons. Cons is like disadvantage of the program. The program, it doesn't encourage you to like be stable. You can't be stable for like a year or two. You have to keep moving. So even if your contracts get renewed, you have to go back and come back again. So that's like lots of money, lots of your mental space. You're not in one place. You're just leaving and coming. I remember when I came the first time, when some of my colleagues were changing their like WhatsApp contacts to the French one, changing the numbers and stuff, I just left mine because I felt like the next couple of months again I'll be back to Nigeria. So if I change it, I go back to Nigeria, I change it back to the Nigerian one, I come back, I change it. It's just a lot of moving and moving and moving. So if you're someone who is looking for something more stable, like minimum of like 2 years, somewhere you're stable, something you're doing, or you want to get a job that is like stable, probably the teaching assistant program is not for you because of that. So as I was saying, I left, and then I got to know that my contract was renewed and I had to come back, but not immediately. Obviously the program starts every October, so you come ending of September. So ending of September or that same October, if you are delayed one way or the other because of one reason or the other, whatever. So I came back in October, and I was an assistant the second time from October to April 2022, and that contract has also ended. So normally I should also go back to Nigeria, right? But I have a valid visa, legal right to remain in France till a certain time. You guys are going to get to know as time goes on. So I've explained how contracts renewal happens. I've explained how the mobility is, and I've explained my own movement. I don't know about some other people's movement. I also want to talk about if the teaching assistant program is the same as graduate teaching assistant. Like if you are doing your master's in France, can you be an English assistant? Yes, it's 100% possible. So if you're a master's student in France, you can apply locally from your rectorat. If you need details on that, or if you want me to make a whole video about that, just say it in the comment section and I will make a video about that, but that's not what today's video is about. So you can apply locally to be an assistant. So you are an assistant as well as studying, going through your studies, and you get paid like a regular assistant, and you have your studies by the side. So in one way it could be considered as graduate teaching assistants that they have in the UK or the US. I don't know if those ones are like if you get a lot of money from being a graduate assistant, or like the ones in the UK, US. I don't know how it is. Maybe someone who does that would be in a better position to explain how it works. However, now I'm going to be talking about like going into more specific details about pros, cons, and just tips around. I already mentioned one disadvantage of the teaching assistant program. One of the pros that I'm going to be talking about first, and I've mentioned it severally on my channel, is the fact that if you are a French learner, if you love languages, this gives you an opportunity to be in a French-speaking country. That's the purpose of the program actually. It's solely for those who like study French or something, for them to be able to reinforce their knowledge of like French and something to just help them. So but obviously even if you don't study French, you can actually be an assistant so far you have a certificate in French, the B1 B2 level certificate in French, given from a recognized from Alliance Française, or the exam is called DELF. And if you have the DELF, good, because that's even higher. So I digressed. You get the opportunity to travel, because actually this is another question that another subscriber actually asked me. How many hours do you work in a week? You work 12 hours a week. So that's a pro, another pro, because I mean, we have 24 hours in a day. Obviously, we sleep half of it, but you work 12 hours in a week. Normal jobs, like if you are actually on a, like what I currently do right now, you work like 35 hours in a week, and or 35 to 40 hours in a week, and get little or no time for yourself. But this program, why they're not expecting too much from you, is the fact that it's just 12 hours in a week, and the remaining time you can explore, you can mix up with people, you can learn their language, you can do something else that you want to do. So I'm sorry, my chair is making a lot of sounds. This house is super old. You can see everything is like wooden, the floor is wooden. When I walk, it makes sounds. So that was just by the way. Let's go back to another major question. I mean, everyone has been asking me for this question, and it's like everyone just wants to know money. So talking about money aspect of the teaching assistant program, like I got questions like, is the salary enough to survive? Can you start a family? It's specified in the contract and everything. It's basically for young people who are just starting up their life, who don't really have like a lot of like things on their mind. Like, I mean, the maximum age is 35 years old. If you're 36, you won't be considered because you're not eligible. So basically, it's for young people within the age of, I think, 20 to 35. Just so you know, the salary is not a lot. If you get chosen for the program, you are going to get a guidebook, and eventually you are going to know how much it is. So it is your choice to take it or leave it. My opinion, and from what lots of my colleagues, like my American colleagues, Canadian colleagues, and Indian and so many other countries, what they say, everyone's like really frustrated, like salary is below this, is below that. And so towards the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about how I've been able to manage, how I kind of budgeted, or how I make my budget, how I'm still able to have some savings from the salary. And everyone's budget is like different. What we all do in a month is different, and so everyone's story is going to be different. But just on a general point of view, the salary is not a lot. It's just something to help you. I think I've mentioned it severally on this channel. It's just something to help you with paying your rent, feeding, getting by every day, transport services, and just something to help you deal with like immediate needs. So if you are an extreme saver like me, you would find a way to still draw out some savings, no matter how little, from this salary. And that is also the reason why they always encourage, or they always tell us, that before you come for the teaching assistant program, you should have an amount, a specific amount with you locked up somewhere. Of course, there are many people that didn't have up to that and they still survived, but they tell you that have it. So most of my colleagues, not Nigerians, most of my colleagues, some of them had like $3,000, $4,000, $2,500. They pulled it out of their savings to help them with living and so many other things. So if you have that amount stacked up somewhere, just have it with you, so that if the salary doesn't work for you, you'll be able to pull from your savings and use them to fend for yourself or survive. So I don't know if I should call that a pro or a con, but I really don't want to it depends. It depends on how much you spend. It depends on how much you buy things. It depends on what you use money to do. But I'm going to tell you a typical budget, what you use money for in a month, every month. So if you don't get a free accommodation, because obviously it is very possible for you to get a free accommodation. In my first year, I got a free accommodation, and I have colleagues who also got free accommodations, like in several places. Some institutions have free accommodations, and in some situations it's gonna be like a teacher in the school that invites you to live in their house. Maybe they have a spare room somewhere for free. It happens. Or maybe you go to a church, like maybe if you're a Christian, if you tell your church members you don't have a place to stay, maybe they will have somewhere for you. I'm not saying everyone should go to church and look for accommodation. No, but I'm just saying, like, it could be from you being connected to someone. I currently have a friend who stays with a family that he met through someone else, and they gave him free accommodation in exchange for, he does some volunteering services for them on some free days. Like, it's 3 days. He only has to work 12 hours a week anyways. So it's 3 days. He does some volunteering for them, and he lives in their house, rent free, everything free. So, I mean, that's a good deal. So if you don't mind living with people, because some people obviously don't like living with other people. So if you don't mind living with people and you get that type of opportunity, just take it. Take it in every way you can. So a monthly budget, if you don't have free accommodation, covers like a rent. So you should know that your rent is going to be from 300 euros and above, depending on the city you are living. Small room in a colocation. Colocation is living, like where I am right now is a colocation. I have my room. There's a bedroom and toilet outside that I share with the person in the next room, and there's someone upstairs who has a studio for herself. Like, studio is the room with our own bedroom and our own toilet. So that's what's called colocation, and we all use the kitchen downstairs. The living room is for everybody. The TV, if you want to watch Netflix or whatever, is for everyone downstairs. The dining room is for everyone. So every other thing is shared. So that's what's called a colocation. So in a colocation, if you are in a not too expensive city, you might get a room of 250, 270, 280. It happens, yeah. If you're in an extreme small town or village, you could get 200 and something euros. But if you are in a not too small city, just budget from 300 to 400. So regular rent, and then you pay phone bills. That's every month, depending on the mobile network you choose. I chose to use free network. It's not free, FREE. It's not free at all, but the name is free. So I chose to use free, and currently I'm like using the highest subscription, which is like 20 euros per month. And this 20 euros per month allows me to, like, no matter the country I travel to, I have constant mobile data. I can call without being charged extra. I only cannot call like external, like Nigeria or Africa or any other continent. But as long as I'm in Europe, I have continuous mobile data. So depending on your mobile plan, of course there are cheaper options, but those cheaper options, if you travel somewhere you don't have such benefits. I mean, when I came the first time, I was using a cheap option, the same network. Anyhow, depending on your network, you pay phone bills like 20 euros, like maximum, some 25. Then feeding, food, you might have to buy food twice a month, like go food shopping twice a month, because it's possible. I mean, sometimes I say, I'm only going to shop once this month, and I realize that I still don't have something, or one particular thing finished early. So just know, feeding also takes a lot of money. And then transportation bills. There are transportation bills, you have every city you need to get. So far it's not a small like town, because the first place I was posted to, if you've not watched my previous video, I'll link it up here, where I talked about comparing my 2 years as an assistant. Like, what's the difference between the first and second year? So my first year, I was in a smaller town, almost a village. So I went everywhere by walking. There was no buses to take you from one place to the other. So even to go food shopping, which was like almost 30 minutes away from where I was living, I walk and I walk back. It was not the most convenient situation, but I mean, I survived. I had to hit one way or the other, and there was no one to come and carry me and bring me back. And I didn't have a bicycle. I don't even know how to ride one. I'm gonna learn. Anyways, so if you're in a small town like that, you don't need to bother about transportation because you are going nowhere. You are going to be walking with your legs everywhere. But I mean, in my second year, I had to get a transport card, and transportation card, depending on your city, you pay. I mean, my last city where I lived, I paid I think 30 euros per month for transport. Also insurance. Sometimes your landlord would tell you to take an extra house insurance, but I don't want you to make a mistake, because my last house, my landlady, when I moved in, she was like, I need to get an insurance and something like that. So I contacted my bank that, okay, I would like to get an insurance for my room because we are like 5 in the house. I cannot get an insurance for the whole house. It's not my house. Normally, what's legal for the land person or the house owner to do most times is to get an insurance for the house and add it to the rent, so everyone knows that, okay, the house is insured and it's part of the rent. But sometimes they want individuals to get insurance just so they can be covered in case of fire, in case of whatever. So I contacted my bank, and my bank was like, they cannot insure my room alone, that they will have to insure like the house or the bedroom and everything, and it's going to be like, I think he said something like 30 euros per month. I'm like, why would I insure someone else's house for 30 euros per month? So I decided to ask my housemate that was there before me, and then by the time I spoke with her, she was like, oh, the house is already insured, like it's automatic, like when you move in you are covered. That why did she tell you to get an insurance? And I was like, what? So the house has been insured, and she keeps telling me to go get an insurance. Why would I get a separate insurance? So the lady told me that when she also moved in, it was the same that she was told. Maybe because we're like maybe because she felt we were foreigners, we wouldn't know what's right not to do, because the other lady is Peruvian. And so she said she had to explain to the woman that, no, it's not done this way. You don't tell me to get an insurance for your house. You get the insurance. So the lady told her not to worry, like the landlady. So I sent a message to the landlady that same night that, why did you tell me to get a separate insurance when the house has already been insured? Do we get double insurance? And the fact that my bank person said they don't have like a separate insurance for my room, that they have insurance for the whole house. And normally when one person takes insurance for a whole house, your housemates, every one of you share the money, so they give you a refund. I mean, my first year as an assistant, in even though the accommodation was free, the bank suggested we had an insurance, and I took the insurance, and my housemate refunded me half of it every month. So in a situation like that, everyone shares the insurance, not just you paying for someone else's house. So when I sent that message to the landlady, she realized that I already knew, and she didn't reply that message till today. But eventually I got notification some maybe weeks after that had already been added to the house insurance that the landlady had. And I was like, I mean, I'm a foreigner already. That's already a negative for me, because I don't know how things are done. But why would you want to cheat me even more? Why should I go get an insurance, a separate insurance, when the house has already been insured? I mean, I'm living here, no one asked me for any insurance. I assume that it's already part of the rent. If you're paying a lot for rent, it should be part of it. So be careful. But in case it's not part of it and you have to get an insurance, if you're living in a colocation, try to get for your own room. And if not, if you get for the whole house, you all have to share it. So make sure you discuss with them and understand what insurance is before you take it. If you have questions around that, you can send me a message on my Instagram, and I'll try to explain better. Travels, if you know you don't want to just I mean, I know people who came to France and they never left where they were, their city, their place, that was where they were from beginning to the end. I mean, you never get the opportunity to do it if you never just take out some money, little money. I mean, this experience is for you to explore, to know places, and do things that when you go back to your country, you won't regret that, oh my god, I was in France for 7 months and I cannot say that I visited another city. I cannot say I visited another country if possible. I mean, try to travel to at least one place if you can. So you can budget travel expenses too, but I'm not saying that you should travel every month. So you put it there every month that, oh, every month I'm traveling, so that's 200 to 50 euros. No. I mean, just know that that's also something that will take money from you. So by the time you remove money for all these things from your salary, what you have left, that's if you have anything left actually. I mean, if your house rent is like 600, because yeah, it happens. If your house rent is like 600, that's already almost all the whole salary. And you buy food, you do a lot of things. So that's, I don't know if you're getting a rough sketch of how the salary feels. Because I mean, when I was in Nigeria and I thought about the salary, I was like, oh, I'm going to have so much savings. Because I was thinking about the money in Naira. Naira is the Nigerian currency. I was thinking about the transfer. I was converting the money to Naira and thinking in Naira. I didn't think in euro. I didn't think that, oh, I'm going to spend this money in euro. So my mind was like, oh, I'm going to have savings. But then when the reality hit me, I saw that, okay, this is really a big deal. Another con I'm going to talk about is that you don't have the rights or the legal authority permission to take on another job, like another official job, of maybe you're teaching in another school and then you get a contract from that school and you're getting like the same amount of salary. I know that's gonna be cool, right? Since you only work 12 hours a week. So if you're working another 12 hours in another week, in another school, and you're getting almost the same salary, that's like twice, which is really nice. But we don't have that right. You cannot do that. You can only work in one institution. Of course, there are other ways that we as assistants try to make money, like looking for babysitting jobs, or telling some of your teachers that have kids that if they want, you can come take their kids for like you can babysit their kids. You can just ask, but be careful. Don't just get to France and then you're already asking your teachers, please, I'm interested in babysitting, I want to babysit. They're like, okay, that's not your job, that's not what you. Sometimes they are the ones to suggest it to you themselves. I never asked any teachers that, can I babysit your kids? Most times they ask me that, I don't know, if you don't have anything to do on Wednesday, would you mind coming to babysit the kids, or help them with their English, and you tell me how much you want. It's don't just get there, bam, and then you're already trying to look for extra job. No, you have to watch your surroundings and know who to approach and who not to approach. Like I said earlier, if you belong to a church or a community of maybe whatever community you belong to, you can ask them in that type of space. It's a safe space that, I don't mind if you ever need someone to teach your children or to help them with assignments, or to babysit them or something on some nights when you want to go somewhere. I'm actually available. I mean, in my church, I didn't tell them, but then when I told them I was an English assistant, someone wanted me to, babysit, someone wanted me to tutor a kid, and, things like also that. Talking about cons, like inconveniences of the teaching assistant program, you don't really get enough rights or, power to teach the students what you want. Like, you don't get full authority. You don't have to prepare like lesson notes and be the one to take full responsibility. No. I remember my first year as an assistant, I had a colleague that was really disappointed because she felt like, being a teacher from her country, and she loves when she teaches, she loves it. So coming for the teaching assistant program, she eventually became, sometimes teachers just say, take these documents and you can take 2 or 4 students with you to another class and, help them to understand. It's not challenging enough So that's the word, challenging. So she wanted it to be as challenging as possible, like, have to teach students, something. Sometimes when you're passionate about something and you don't get the opportunity to carry out your passion, you might be quite disappointed. So if you are someone who is passionate about teaching and everything, and you're thinking that, if you become an English assistant, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, you already have a draft, you already have topics. First week I'm going to teach them animals, next week I'm going to teach them just slow down. When you get to France, you're going to have a meeting or a discussion with your teachers that you'll be working with, and they would in turn tell you how they want it to go. I feel like I've been talking about cons, like inconveniences, for a while, so I'm just gonna talk about a pro. I'm gonna talk about a benefit. Another benefit is that as an English language assistant, you get several benefits, such as housing benefits, like I called CAF. I've mentioned it in many of my previous videos. Caisse d'allocation familiale. It's a system in France that allows students and young people or something to get certain allowances, like bonuses every month, just to help you survive. So for the CAF, it's an housing benefit, so you can apply for it when you get to France if your rent is high, and they would give you sometimes or most times half of your rent every month. So I don't know how this skipped my mind while I was saying or making this video, but here it is. You also get refunded half of your transport fees per month. Like in my case, my transport card was my transport subscription was 30 euros per month, and every month I get 15 euros back from this. So yeah. So because I've talked a lot, this video is super long. I don't know if I'm going to break this video into two or not, but if I'm going to break this video into two, this part I just want to talk about how I dealt with things, my thoughts, my advices,